Here's how you can reach 10, 20, 25, even $30,000 per month in commissions through being a closer with us. So I basically created a full-on commission calculator if you are a closer, and I broke it down in three different tiers. And these are like three different milestones that you would want to go through if you want to push it to the max, right? So tier number one is 100K a year, right? Six figures. So this is 8.3333K a month. Tier two is 200K a year. And then finally, we'll cover how to get to tier three, the elite tier. This is the best of the best, right? If you reach that tier, not if, when you reach that tier, because if you are in a team, you should be aiming for that. Eventually, you'll be like, on top of the food chain. So 300K to 500K a year is tier number three. So let me break down how the calculator works. So what I recommend is you make a copy of this Google Sheet, or you can just directly, duplicate the sheet right here, rename it with your name on it, and then you can, play around with it as long as like these are not screwed up. So what you want to do basically is you want to edit all the numbers that are all the cells that are in green, right? And then all the numbers are in Canadian dollars. So just, take this into account if you are in the US or somewhere else. So program price right now is 8K. Right? And this will go up in the future, but for now it's 8K Canadian, right? So that means as a closer, you're getting 10% of that, $800. And then little bonus for you, you're getting a bonus of $200 Canadian per pay in full. Okay. And then another bonus of $500 for each 50K sold. So that means not 50K collected, but 50K sold, like revenue generated, basically, right? So if you close 50K worth of contract value, for example, 50,000 divided by 800, that would be approximately like every six contract or six lines that you close, you get a $500 bonus as well. Okay. Now, monthly goals right here. Cash versus rev. You get this from your tracker. In your tracker, you should know, I'll show you an example right here. How much is your rev versus cash? So right here, 44%, for example. And then, so you would enter this, and then how many pay in fulls you aim for, or on average you've been getting every month. So you can enter this right here. So let's say 4, right? So closing rate. Basically, everything that is in green is everything that you can control as a closer and that we can control as a team. So we want to push these variables to the max so that you make the most amount of money, right? So closing rate, let's say you're at 25%, right? Show up rate, 70%. Working days, all right? If you work like 5 days and a half, 5.5 days, and then daily SS book. How many SS can you take in a full working day, right? Let's say you take six. This is not called taken. This is how many can you have booked in your calendar, right? So there's a difference between how many you take and how many you can have booked in your calendar. So this is 6 booked calls. So monthly calls, this means you're going to get 130 SS book sales calls. Not, because we have a 70% show up rate, you're going to take 92, right? That means if you close at 25% of 92 is 23 deals closed, all right? So commission payout with the bonuses. That means you get a $800 bonus, okay? Because you got 4 paid full, so 4 times 200. And then 50K sold bonus, you're getting 1,500, because if you sold for 23 deal close times 800, it's like 184, right? Monthly cash. Okay, this is interesting. So you're getting $11,540 paid, right? That month, right? On like the first of the month, you're getting paid this amount. This will hit your bank account, okay? This is the difference between cash versus rev. Monthly rev, this is important, is how much you will get in commission, right, for the month. So let me explain the difference. So in accounting, you have this concept of cash versus revenue. Cash is like, for example, we sold a client for $8,000, but he only paid $4,000. So the cash is $4,000 and the revenue is $8,000, because we're going to collect that other $4,000 next month. So This is why it's important to know, because you might only be getting 11,000 this month, but you actually will be getting in total 20,000. If you just wait a little bit, like for the future payments to come in, you'll be getting 20,000. So in reality, if your cash versus rev is 50%, which it should be around that mark, or 40%, you can always do the math in your head and be like, okay, I know that because my cash versus rev is 50%, what I'm getting paid right now, like I actually have like double that amount of commission coming in future months, right? This is why if you put it on a yearly basis, the yearly on-track earnings, you're going to see the real commissions that you make over the year, right? Because we have a split payment. So if you hit that number, you'll be at 20K a month and you'll be pretty much making 250K a year, right? So let's go over first the tier number 1. All right, how to make 100 grand a month. So program, let's say it's 8K. Let's say you collect 50% of the cash. Paid in full is the same thing. Let's say you're just starting out and learning the industry and all that. Let's say you're just working 5 days a week. You can only take 4 calls. No, let's say 5 calls, which should be more. And then let's say your closing rate is 15%, you would hit 100 grand, even more than that. Even if, let's say it would be 12, let's say 13. Yeah, there you go. 13% closing rate, which is definitely below KPI, you would hit 100K a year, which would be the first tier. Now, second tier, how to reach 200K a year. You just work on yourself, you improve the closing rate, you go through the training, you do call reviews, you do training, and then you get to 25% closing rate. And then you're like, shoot, how can I get to 200K a year? All right, which is fun. You just play around with these numbers. So instead of taking 5 booked calls per day, you take 6. There you go. Brings everything up to 230. All right. And then you're still working 5 days a week. So now, how do you reach the elite tier? The tier number 3, 300K a year and more. So there's a certain limit of, for each of the metrics. So daily SS booked, realistically, let's say you have 7, right? 7 or 8 would be like the max booking calendar, sorry. So just with this, you can reach 300K, right? If the closing rate stays the same. Now, another thing we could do and work on as a team would be the show up rate, but 70% in our industry is pretty good. Let's say you want to also add another day, you would reach automatically 362 a year. Okay. Now, let's say you want to be a bit more conservative here. You do this, you're at 275. So that's how you would go about doing that. Obviously, the more calls you take, the more painfuls you're going to get. So let's say you get better, you get more painfuls. 7, you're almost at 300 grand. Let's say, for example, we increase the program. Of course, like don't rely on the program price. Like try to you can hit your commission goals and you can reach like 300K, tier number 3 and more with the current program price. It doesn't matter what it is right now. I can tell you, some people make that amount of money with like lower price point of their program. So the program is not the issue, right? But we can increase that over time. But let's imagine our program is now 10 grand Canadian. Then you automatically at 350. Right? Then, of course, your closing rate might drop a little bit. Completely fine. But biggest lever you can pull basically would be this. How many days you work, how many daily assets you can take, the cash versus rev you collect. So are you always defaulting to like trying to get, split pays, payment plans, or are you trying to get the pay in fulls all the time? And then the closing rate, of course, is like the biggest thing, right? Let's say you go from 25 to 35%. Now we're talking almost 400 grand a year. So that's how you reach these tiers. And yeah, have fun playing with that and just make your own copy. And then let's get to work.